Well, you have an electrical body part that is in heavy use by the wireless computing industry, the same industry that harnesses your phone. Body area network has been around for 30 years, and it's basically how we interface your body. See, 1995. We interface your body with the Internet of Things. Do you have a Fitbit? You ever heard of a smartwatch? Okay. You ever heard of somebody having a pacemaker or an insulin pump and their doctor is checking on them wirelessly? Probably. But the other thing I would guess you probably heard of is the brain-computer interfaces that people use for, like, anxiety. Sensate wearable. Ever seen these before? They got them in all sorts of different ways, like the Apollo wearable for stress relief. This is electrocuting your central nervous system using frequencies. And all of these systems that you use for your Fitbit, your health wearables, this goes to something called the Industrial Internet of Medical Things. Okay. Industrial, Internet of Medical Things. The Industrial Internet of Medical Things is sometimes referred to as the Internet of Things in healthcare. And the IoMT, the Industrial Internet of Medical Things, allows wireless and remote devices to securely communicate over the internet to allow rapid and flexible analysis of medical data. So when we go to the Sensate wearable, see like right here at Walmart, it shows that the wearable or the device in the Sensate case comes with an app, an application for your phone, which you can also see right here, right? Okay, well, tell me, how is the signal getting in and out of your body and back to the app on your phone? Hi, my name is Sabrina Wallace. I'm a former network engineer on the back end of our country. I worked for Charter Communications long time ago when we went from dial-up to cable modems. And what I'm telling you now today is that you have human anatomy that they have ran off with and told everyone nothing about how this little wearable here or this little device, because the Apollo Neuro is the wearable style up top here, okay? I want you, whoever you are, to tell me, how is that Sensate device communicating inside your body under your skin? That's what I want you to explain to me. And then I also want you to explain to me how that device is transmitting biological data out of your body, right there where you see her holding the phone in one hand and holding the Sensate device in the other hand. How is the Sensate little device getting biological data from your body onto the app on that phone? Right. So, you have a body area network. Everybody does. And the wireless body area network or a medical body area network or a body sensor network, these are all different ways that the mesh networking of the Internet of Things, the wireless, your devices, your wearables, communicates. And on the back end of your industrial Internet of Things, we have an intra-body communication system for your nervous system. This intra-body communication system for your nervous system goes with cybersecurity. W-band cybersecurity tiers. There are 3 tiers. Intra-body. The second tier, there's technically 4, but it's a black box tier for cybersecurity professionals, so this makes sense to me. The first tier is intra-band, body area network. The communication in this tier is between sensor nodes and a controller node, not going outside the body. The second tier for the wireless body area network in cybersecurity is interband, and the third is beyond the band. So it's kind of easier to see it in images, and I show this to the synergist from my computer desktop, but this time I want to show it to you in a few different ways, including the college textbook method, and I also want you to see it from a completely different place, like the cognitive, that would be helpful. The sensor journal here in MDPI, hopefully I can get to this. Yeah, spectrum aware, priority based, link scheduling. See, we have to segment this whole title here in about 4 different disciplines of computer networking, deep machine learning for algorithms. And then computer networking is rather generic, because if you have to work with body area networks, you're going to be working with modeling software and the digital twin for security. So here's a nice pretty picture. Tier 1 intra-wireless body area network communication will be the sensors and a controller node. The controller node will then communicate for power, bootstrapping, and security to your phone, an iPad, or an artificial neural network. That'll be a bit of wireless hanging in the air that you can't see, just like all the other networks that are around you and me all day. The networks that run for your smart devices only, like the fridge in the side of your house, those don't talk to your router in the same way or on the same networks. Then there's your proprietary networks of somebody using a drone to go look at real estate. They're not really looking through your house, but they are still collecting a different type of electrical signal data on your house. Then there's your router that talks to your computers, and those are using a different wireless that communicates with different areas of air molecules in your house. Welcome to wireless. Everybody knows what it is, right? You use your phone, you send an email, a text message. That's computer wireless, going back and forth to wherever it needs to go. No one told you that you were connected to the cloud by your own blood and tissue since 1995. Wow, that's so shocking. Again, that's what happened. So here we are 30 years later, and people are all freaked out about lots of different things, and they kind of left out the biomedical telemetry in a lot of places for what you see in front of your faces, which is e-health, and my face too, because it took me a while to understand and accept this level of betrayal. It's one thing to surveil what someone says out loud. It's another thing to use the air molecules by pressure, to take a measurement of their literal brain waves and then have that data translated in databases by computers to show some random person on their cell phone what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're saying, and your blood pressure and anything else they want to know. Oh, they can't. Oh, they wouldn't. Oh, they won't. Yes, they do. These are jobs. This is information surveillance and reconnaissance. The sensors are under your skin. And they're industrial. That is where we are. We are not at the level of a bunch of little script kiddie wannabe hackers who play in the fog and the edge flare, who do not have cybersecurity access to body area networks. We're talking about people who have jobs with places like NASA and the National Institute of Science and Technology and the National Science Foundation. So there are 3 layers of cybersecurity on a wireless body area network since 2011. That's not the date on this article, but that's a Wiley article that we often cite. So in the first tier, you have your internal sensors. But on the second tier, now you've bootstrapped to a device. And any time online that we make a connection from one piece of hardware to another piece of hardware infrastructure, we set up a data link layer. There are 7 layers to open systems interconnection, which is what you have to study and learn in order to work within computer networks. Okay? And that could be people who write applications for your phone, software engineers, but those folks usually are stopped about here for cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is what addresses the network itself in order to prevent attackers getting past layer 4. And then there's the cybersecurity on data centers that are part of, for example, water and utility plants or hospitals. We can't afford for those data centers to be accessed by nefarious people. They have to have security, and they do. Further security is in a separate area of the data link layer here called medium access control, meaning that if you don't have appropriate permission to access past this network layer, you don't get in. That's why anything that connects from one piece of physical hardware to another piece of physical hardware will always have a medium access control identifier, a MAC ID, since the 1940s. So now that you understand that your body area network has been around since 1995, hopefully you understand that to people in computer networking, electrical engineering, radio frequency, what I am telling you right now is super well known to them because these are the bare bones basics that they have to know to do their jobs on human bodies. Changing out the electricity in the air molecules around you, changing out the packet instruction inside computer networking through your blood, bone, and tissue. That is body area networks, wireless body area networks, medical body area networks. It is mathematics manipulating electricity that you already have. Every human body is electrical. That is what they are exploiting. There's no way around any of this. You have to admit that it is not a new technology because I'll bet you a bunch of you don't have a Sensei. I'll bet you a bunch of you don't have a Fitbit. Some of you might not even have a cell phone, and yet they get down to your bone. Well, yeah, how does a drone hunt your body? By your wireless body area network. And that's on all sides, including your Raytheon and their special lenses that they use. Because these sensors that are body-wide, that are mathematically correlated with computer networking through the human body. So when they're firing these electrical signals, they're using computer networking. Here's your specialized little lenses with some Raytheon, multispectral targeting. And this little lens right here got a friend in the form of a satellite and an underground IBM somewhere that then talk to its bigger friends and bounce signals on anywhere it needs to. Plane, satellite, back down again, underwater, whatever. The drone has artificial intelligence that allows the drone to hunt your bone. Why? How? Because they put your body on the internet. And it just seems to me that nobody out there wanted to say that plainly and clearly and openly. Hey, we filled your body with biological sensors and we gave you a MAC ID and a specialized bioelectromagnetic algorithm for your DNA. And they leave themselves messages in your DNA. But we'll go over that another day. So, we have the ability to fly a drone over your home and pull those same biosignals and biosensors that I'm telling you about now. Security challenges and body area networks for health applications. Body area network connects sensors and actuators to the human body in order to collect patients' information and transmitting it to doctors in a confined space with limited users. Wireless body area network is derived from wireless sensor networks and enables to transfer of the patient's information with a wide range of communication due to the limitations of the wired body area network. It plays a vital role in healthcare monitoring, healthcare systems, probably a typo, medical field, sports field, and multimedia communications, sensors, and actuators. So it's not just a passive sensing ability. Think it through. What do your wearables do? Do you have a terahertz wearable that subtly radiates your body for your terahertz quantum apps that also talk to your phone? Do you have a Fitbit that takes your oxygen, etc.? That's all going down the Internet of Medical Things and recorded by every patent for all of those devices. This is feeding your digital twin databases. That's what it's designed for. Your digital twin is a roadmap of the immune system with your electronic health records with H7 classified HIPAA laws. Already ready to go, several more on the way. Your digital twin is a way that they can test drugs against a computer model. They can test different therapies that they could use on you, but wouldn't it be nicer if they could test it on a model first? A model of what? Of you. An exact digital copy of you in real time. See, that's the part of things I don't think those of you out there genuinely appreciate yet, because you haven't done the reading. And I'm not being condescending. It takes a serious amount of guts to face this stuff for just what it is. Okay? So here we have bidirectional brain-computer interface with Battelle Biolabs in Ohio. These Battelle Biolab things are DARPA. That's us. That's the DoD. Okay? Then we have your Department of Energy with all these databases with everybody's genome. And you're still sitting there thinking your thoughts are private. Well, the Senate already passed the FDA Modernization Act, not through the House, just the Senate thus far, in which they can test that DigiID rather than have to go through the traditional vetting for a drug. Why would that be? Wireless drugging. We can drug you wirelessly by exploiting exogenous stimuli like acoustic waves, electric fields, magnetic fields, all the things that go with that body area network that nobody's talking about. There's a reason for that. If we have sensors to sense all these different biosignals, you better believe we have actuators to make a change in your cellular electricity. You're an electrical being. They left that out of your education. Now what they're telling you is they're going to go under your skin with these sensors, all this artificial intelligence, and them, having practiced at this since 2011 with the metamaterials and Professor Achildes, preparing for 10, 12 years now for their industrial cyber physical revolution with augmented humans that were already exist, approved by governments, research approved by governments, happening all around us in a wide open laboratory for 20 to 30 years. And I don't care what you believe in. Is partly true. I hope that you believe in God, and I hope you believe that your God loves you. But when it comes to synthetic biology and augmented humans, these things that I am showing you, these are administrative decisions made by governments and their employed agencies. So I would appreciate it that when I am not in the mode of conjecture, that you would keep your brain appropriate. These sites are websites you can go to on your own. You can verify this is the Department of Energy. You can verify your Office of Health Affairs with National Biosurveillance Integration Center. You can verify the IITSEC Department of Defense Real-World Digital Twins, where digital twin simulations have been simmering for 50 years. That's half a century. Then you can verify their program schedule with a bunch of the software we talk about. Pardon my nose. And you can go straight to assuring deterrence through integrated training and readiness with IITSEC 2024, because that's where all this data is coming from. You can, that I'm pulling from their 2023 event, so you get an idea of what they're doing. Then you can go like we did here on the channel, not to Omnet W-band, where we watch them pull signals with computer network modeling software made for your M-band. Eight years ago on the YouTube, the search for this is Omnet W-band. But then you can go to IITSEC directly on the YouTube. I'll leave you a link here. And you can listen to them talk about it themselves.
That, more people that were doing the training, the folks getting the sham stimulation, they obviously got more tired after they finished the training. The folks that got stimulation, though, actually felt more energetic. So I don't know if you've ever sat down and decided, I'm going to learn a really hard foreign language like Arabic. I'm going to sit here and do this for an hour, and at the end of that hour, you're like, now I'm more energetic. I'm ready to go about the rest of my day. But these people felt that way, and that's just insane to me. So really robust effects on mood. And then we also are looking at new ways, new sensors to extract information from the brain. So there's this program called Individualized Neural Learning System that just wrapped up, but we have a follow-on going now. But looking at some novel sensors, so a wearable magnetoencephalography system was one of the things that was under development here, and it's very, very, very close. So at any rate, this new technology will allow us to extract more information easier and have 3D localization capabilities as well, so we know where the signal is coming from in the brain with higher resolution. And then we've also been working with DARPA on this next generation non-surgical neurotechnologies program. So this is, we've actually been working with a company called Teledyne to look at technologies that are able to write to the brain at very high resolution. And so this is very early, so there's still a lot of development to do, but this is something that will be coming in the future, to be able to wear a device that non-invasively can write information directly to your brain.
To wear a device that can directly write information to your brain, 10 minutes and 13 seconds right in the beginning, and then he'll go into the brainstorms with the article that I'm showing you from Battelle. No matter what you do or say, no matter what you do out there, honkers, and no matter what anybody says about our channel, whoever you are, I assure you, it will not be a waste of time for you to know how commonly used your body area network is. The IEEE electrical engineering people write the code or the frequency encoding. Then you have a whole series of biomedical engineers for your IEEE, and they get in there to change out your biosensors, to change out the monitoring, the behavioral modifications for your Internet of Behaviors. All of that is coming off of the back of that digital twin. The digital twin is not only for your health and your behavior, and yes, they mention behavior repeatedly. It's also for the business world in order to connect you with your new AI helper. Heard of those yet? With Microsoft? And the ones that you'll need to get a job in the future. I'll explain when I go back to the human augmentation document. This is what I have been saying the entire time. There are people doing jobs out here for 10 years all around us. They know what they're up to. It's not a secret. Because they're willing to admit to technology that's currently already deployed. Whereas even in the alleged alt-right truther community people, they were not willing to talk about this situation 2 years ago. Everybody kind of tiptoed around different things because they do know what they're doing. And I'm going to show that today too with attorney, I think it's Tom Renz, because I've talked about him before in a nice way. So we have our digital twins for business. We have our digital twins with the Medical Body Area Network. We have an FDA Modernization Act to use cell-based assays, like what they use on the back of their phones. Millimeter wave on the back of a phone is really easy to do when they can just log into your biosensors directly with a little freeware. What do I mean by that? Well, Bioconductor is open source software, so any little nerd who is a software engineer can write the code with the right modules for your biosensors. It's on the right-hand side of your Venn diagram here. Point of care is something like an insulin pump. This is all computer code for different types of hardware. Hardware will have chipsets. Chipsets will have security. Maybe. Then there'll be more stops along the way, translating data along computer networking in the wireless for where that security, cyber security, is going to protect your wireless body area network or not. Multiple steps along the way. So by telling people nothing about software like this for synthetic biology and molecular communication inside the body under the skin, using modeling software that is proprietary written specifically for your armed services, your DoD and its vendors, your biosurveillance. And why do we have all of that? Well, we cracked your bioelectric code, and we know that you have a biofield. A set of magnetic and electrical fields, your big toroidal field. We know your heart is electrical, and we know how all of it works. So we, with the study of bioelectromagnetics, that's the study between a biological being or entity and electromagnetic frequencies, went ahead and wrote bioelectromagnetic algorithms for human bodies. So now we have digital twins, we have our human activity recognition radar, we have we have more than the digitwin, we have the body area networks, we have neural modulation for affecting your central nervous system body-wide. And we're using the same exact systems that we've been using for 30 years in computer networking, electrocuting your tissue just a little, under the skin in order to elucidate an electrical change, a bioelectrical change within your body at intra body area network cybersecurity layer 1. That is how it works. That is what they are doing. That is what we are doing as a country. There is nothing about this system, at least to me, that is hidden, because I admit to computer networking through the human biofield, because that's what it is and that's how it works. And no matter how many times people go around and around and around and around and around, you're going to end up back with DARPA. You're going to end up back with your own Department of Defense. You're going to end up back on 3009, how it's autonomous, and there are no humans involved. Based on the existing Department of Defense policy, you have to have a human within the decision cycle at some point to authorize the engagement. What is this guy talking about? Well, he's talking about Department of Defense Directive 3009, Autonomy and Weapons Systems. For those of us here on the channel, that's the Red College textbook we've been studying out of to discern and find a lot of this. January 25th, 2023, your systems of autonomy, meaning the drone gets to make the decision of what to do with your bone, just like Lavender AI over there in the sandbox, where everyone's attention is being drawn all the time. So last year, in January, we have now fully and completely robustly deployed DODD 3009. And once again, they went out there and told people with Bloomberg and all the rest that there has to be a human involved. No, there does not. That's why Lavender AI works the way it does when they all went, oh, nobody checked the database? No, and they don't. He tells you that here, or whoever this is, they tell you again here, they cite the right documentation. Where are we? The Center for Strategic and International Studies. Okay. Hang on. Oh, good Lord. Okay. So I really would just genuinely appreciate it. Those of you that are doing all this, and you know who you are. There's all sorts of jobs. There's all sorts of people involved, okay? So it's really important for people to understand that this Department of Defense directive is fully deployed, okay? And our autonomous drones work with the same electronic and electromagnetic database back end that we use with our industrial internet of medical things, which could be your Fitbits, your quantum wands, and all that kind of stuff too. And that's because both sides of this, whether you're coming in from the information surveillance and reconnaissance side, or you're coming in from the medical side, and then this is a multi-use system, not just dual use. So it can kill you, it can heal you, it can let you play your video games, it can let you stream your data through your body. So, in other words, we have all these different people who are playing with the human body at the level of routing data right through people's body area networks. They call it quantum. Nobody has any idea what's going on, But when you go back into their books as far as who owned you, when were you sold, and what location, data center are you in, and what software are you using, these are the same systems that are still at Penn State and all the different universities in Wisconsin, different businesses, and all they do is change out access and databases. Now they're using routing protocols. Why? Because so many people are connected to the internet with digital twins. So routing protocols, it just makes sense. They've got Geomancer and Spellcaster that pick up your geospatial features, hunt you down, and then when they want to make changes to your biosensors, they create a spell book. The spell book is your data set. A data set is a big set of databases or a set of data from databases that are to be used with coordinates and things like biosensors that they want to change. And all of those things are called features. And that's what your Fourier transformation does. It reads your EEG brainwave measurements right out of the air around your head. That would be wireless sensor networks. That's 802.15.5. Yeah, they have market share. They're everywhere. That's the mesh networking that your security analyst just recently said less than 1% of anybody going to get away from them. So here we are on LinkedIn with wireless sensor networks. The 2.4 gigahertz band is free, unlicensed, and available worldwide, operates at low data and low power transmission rates, communicates wirelessly, not large number of nodes, and it uses your BLE and everything else in between. So here's your air molecules around your head, and whatever you're thinking, you're definitely not thinking that they're following you around and taking your data and selling it to other databases, data sets, bioinformatics. Of course not. Who's thinking that the air molecules are hijacked that way? And they are. Or your Internet of Things and your smart grid and all the rest of it wouldn't be there the way it is. Wireless sensor network applications, scholarly community, flora and fauna, industrial, urban, military, health, and environmental. Well, that's pretty much everything. Yeah. Welcome to your global information grid, where literally everything is covered with these nano-sized, really tiny sensors. Cognitive city structures, smart grid for the side of your house. Visible light communication, funky looking things on the street lamps. Yeah, little visible light communication. And they can run the wireless through that too. There's one of my pages I wanted to reopen. So, we have a situation in which, by the law, yeah, that's the other video. Hang on. We have a situation in which, by the law, the drones have more legal protection to do things to you than you have the ability to shoot them out of the sky and not get arrested. The taxonomy of human activity recognition system, type of data, type of recognition algorithm, sensor-based, wearables if you got them, or object-based, supervised or semi-supervised, meaning that the algorithms floating in those computer networks around your house watching you do what you do. Maybe they're supervised, maybe they're not. External sensing, vision-based from other places, including passive radar. And then augmented reality systems, different transceivers. Notice it says 2015. A survey of group activity recognition in a smart building, 2018. Types of activities, static, dynamic, and activities with postural transitions. And then we just find the right data set that we're looking for. And we watch you walk around your house and record that data into your spell book. Then, in the event that we want to change something on you, the biosensors are not just passive, they also have actuators. And we can electrocute your body just a little, so that you start walking a different direction, talk to somebody else, do something different, fall asleep, have a reaction that works the exact same way on the medical side that it does everywhere else. Monitoring your vital signs, respiratory, EEG, pH, glucose, and artificial hands, muscle tension. Welcome to the IEEE 802.15.6 standards for your physical and MAC ID layers and wireless body area networks. Computer networking under the skin. So, It is a difficult situation to be in because of how little power people authentically have, given that with your digital twin, the ability for the drones to keep you locked in your home like they want everyone to be masked up, stay at home, while they've been working out all the details in cybersecurity for all their wireless connectivity, nobody said no. Your 5G towers are not your primary source or destination for biomedical, that would be body telemetry, on exacting a bioweapon or something else. Like electronic signal to just electrocute you to death sitting on your couch. Who's going to know? It's sudden adult death syndrome. You had a heart attack. You ate too much butter. This is called plausible deniability. These systems were set up for 60 years now for multi-purpose use, with information surveillance and reconnaissance, and now your e-health and m-health. Tier 1, sensors on the inside only. Tier 2, you plus a device. Tier 3, any other random person who wants to interface with your body. Internet of Medical Things is using neural signal transmission test beds for neural modulation. They're also using electrical coupling technologies, things that should make normal electrical engineers and people with galvanic capacitive and inductive coupling to the galvanic skin response, meaning directly to your body's natural magnetics and electricity. And if they have biosensors on the inside of you, those are very powerful magnets to come right through your blood, bone, or tissue. Why? Wireless tissue engineering for wound healing. Once again, when we do not get ourselves appropriately educated on what our Department of Defense or our governments are doing with nanotechnology in combat casualty care, with Homeland Defense and Security Information Analysis Center, we tend to believe things that are simply untrue. For example, when we're listening to the upcoming discussions here in a moment on the Brighteon, etc., and everyone continues to pretend that these systems are not deeply embedded with multiple ways to access them for multiple divisions and departments, please keep the following in mind. Emerging trends here at the HDIAC webinar 2 years ago for our nanotechnology and combat care, in which we have immune system modifying nanoparticles, IMPs, nano-based SI or mini RNA carriers, monitoring, we have all of that, monitoring protease activity, ECM changes, promote tissue regeneration at time of injury. That is not written incorrectly. That's wireless tissue engineering. That's synthetic biology. Representative technology, NanoDX, licensing agreement with IBM Research, patented nanosensor design that includes an array of highly sensitive nanowires that measure electrical resistance and are functionalized with antibodies that bind with target biomarkers. Legionarius, where are you guys? Pioneering tissue integrating biosensors for continuous monitoring of body chemistries and smart garments with the terahertz, with your different types of nanotechnology for haptic gear, and with something called wireless tissue engineering, which you may also be completely unfamiliar with, but they are not. Now, the reason I'm taking whoever you are through a bunch of this is because I'm about to read to you from a UK document with Germany about augmenting humans, which they have already done. I don't want people to be afraid. I want people to be educated so that they see exactly what has gone on here. Where did you get all the research and development for synthetic biology with living human tissue, which is what you would have needed to get this worked out? Engineering smart hybrid tissues with built-in electronics, wireless tissue engineering where I can grow an organ on a chip inside of you wirelessly, remotely. You don't even have to take an ingestible like they show here, an implantable device. There I am breathing in the smart dust motes in the air, and a little electrical signal in situ, in vivo, off we go. More wireless signals, and we can access the body in multiple ways. We have smart bandages. We have tissue scaffolding. We have all the different ways that we just log into your biosensors, and what do you see in front of you? The W-band. Because all of this with the nanotechnology, all of this with your graphene, all of this with your graphene wireless tissue engineering, what do you see? Frontiers chemistry again. And they put it in all the drugs, and they put it with the dentist. And yeah, they've been doing it for 20 to 30 years, folks. And I hope it helps when you see this for what I'm about to show you now. Because if you see it, like, do you really see what you're looking at? Graphene for the brain, the heart, the bone, the muscle, the tendon, the skin. And over here, they've got wireless tissue engineering to close up a wound, even with the clothing that you're wearing, sealing and healing your skin for you. Because they're under the skin. The real super soldiers are not sitting there talking about 20 and back. That's all a ruse. The real ones practice synthetic biology, tissue engineering, non-invasive neurology, because we don't need a chip in your head. All we have to do is get within 2 centimeters of your tissue. And they don't even got to be that close anymore. They can use the wireless.
Without any surgery, without any, actually not even any sensations on your skin. So this is really exciting technology to us as well. So that's basically all I had. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Air Force Research Laboratory. Okay. So, now that I have brought you up to speed with things that you might not have known that they're really there. You might have had no idea about the brain-computer interfaces and how incredibly complex they are with machines, with magnetics, with the different ways that we connect back and forth with our wireless, with artificial intelligence, with system on a chip, with all sorts of air molecular communication, even though I haven't gotten that far yet, with the analog and all the other types of neurostimulation that they're playing around with, because a lot of people between the Substack and everywhere else think they've got it all figured out with Clathrin dots and furin, and there's more to the story, like there always is, because this is espionage. Unfortunately, folks, we here on the channel, at least, we're very much in between what they're playing at with different countries right now, and they're going to take everyone off guard. Well, they're going to turn around, in my opinion. I'll just tell you now, because that's where what I was going to close with anyways. Because they came after me on the Rumble, leaving nasty comments, and a couple of them rang true with things I could hear in the satellite systems. Once people realize that this is a bio-cyber interface and not a freaking bioweapon, they're going to run to get signed up. Here on the channel, we've talked about this before. Then they're going to tell people it's all for their good, and as long as you get signed up, you'll be able to get a job, you'll be augmented, you'll be better than human. That's the whole point. Where'd you go? Here we go. You will be a transhuman, and that transhuman with this emerging technologies is what they've been aiming at the whole time. It's transhumanism. They're going to make you better by installing a chip in your head and making sure that you have a digital twin that is AI and takes you over slowly but surely. Microfluidics is all about being able to dishy McDish brain neurons back and forth, or neural nets, copy them into somewhere else and destroy the neurons that are inside the biology. Well, how do you think they take out their other robots? They eradicate the neural nets and the networks inside the other robot. So why would that be so difficult to do in a biological being? Oh, yeah. When you flash things in front of people, like it's really flashy. Ooh, look, isn't this awesome? But you don't explain to them how it works. And if you recall where I started out with, I was asking you how your Sense8 wearables work. Remember? I was over here and I'm like, hey, how does this little device talk to your phone? How is this data coming out of this device to your phone? For your Fitbit, for any of it? When we don't understand how things actually work, we end up in a situation where they could be used for good or for bad. And sometimes we end up, even if we do understand how things work, things can still be hacked and hijacked. But this is your body. This is your body's electricity. And this is your human biofield connected to the internet in the form of that body area network with a bioelectromagnetic algorithm written in a database you have no access to, and it's only for you. Meanwhile, these people that get, everyone complaining and saying they get away with it, well, we as taxpayers in the United States, we're paying for all of this transhumanism. This is the National Science Foundation. This is your DoD. These are all the things that our tax dollars go to every day, all the time. And you wonder why the people that are sitting there are a brick wall in every direction? They're under the same systems, the same button pushing, the same networks. Everyone is trapped because you connected everybody to the internet. Then you turned AI loose so that it could subsume biological cells, overwrite the cell structure with plasma polaritons for the Internet of Space things, and now we have augmented humans all over the place. They didn't start that yesterday, by the way. That was all started up, from what I can tell, in 2012, and they all knew about it, the ones that were involved. Everybody got their script, and onwards they went. Talk about this, don't talk about that, and it keeps it real easy to keep people's attention anywhere but on what was going on right around us. Human augmentation. That's what this is all about. Real transhumanism means that you're overwriting the cellular bioelectric code, and you are. So the prospect of using technology to radically enhance human performance has been the subject of intense debate for 20 years. Some analysis has been pessimistic and cautionary, downplaying just how imminent such technologies are, clearly. Other commentators are more optimistic and foresee an impending technological revolution that will radically transform every aspect of our lives. They didn't know. They didn't know what they were doing. They're just so clueless. And every step of the way we have found the opposite. And then very insane people say things like Nuremberg, that they're somehow going to go after 2/3 of the United States who are employed, by the way. We're not talking about crazy people blowing up buildings. We're talking about the people that are working at all your companies. So here's their project scenarios, their structure, understanding human augmentation, part 2, human augmentation technology, ethical, legal, implications for society, implications for defense, project methodology, and technology review. We are now on page 11, the executive summary of a Ministry of Defense of the UK and Bundeswehr in Deutschland, Germany document about where they're headed with human augmentation, because it is amazing to be a human in this day and age, living through whatever you want to call this part of history. The ability to enhance one's psychological, or social capability has been a source of power throughout history, and warfare is the epitome of this dynamic. Pardon my nose. The paradox of war is that humans are central to its conduct, but are also the weakest link. We want war fighters, whether they be cyber specialists, drone pilots, or infantry soldiers, to be stronger, faster, more intelligent, more resilient, and more mobile, to overcome the environment and the adversary. We have designed increasingly complex technologies to enhance lethality, survivability, and mobility. I am patient, I am kind, I am peace. As technology has become more sophisticated, our thinking has become more focused on the machine rather than the person. But this needs to change if we are going to be effective in the future. This is the executive summary. This is paragraph 1 of an introduction. Okay. So, moving into conceptualizing the human as a platform. Physical performance is the capability to affect the physical environment and move within it. Strength, dexterity, speed, and endurance are key components, and there is often a trade-off between them. Psychological performance comprises cognition, emotion, and motivation. Cognition is the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. It includes processes such as attention, the formation of knowledge, long-term and working memory, reasoning, problem-solving, and decision-making, not decision fatigue. Pardon my nose. Emotion describes the subjective human experience and is closely linked with motivation, which is the force that energizes, activates, and directs behavior. Your endocrine system, 40 to 60% of which is in your biofield. Social performance is the ability to perceive oneself as part of a group and the readiness to act as part of the team. It is founded on self-awareness and the ability to understand the behavior of others. It is tightly linked to communication skills, collaboration, and trust. The core tenet of social performance is group cohesion. Yeah, like SQL Hive. Human augmentation is not a shortcut. Getting the basics of human physiology, biochemistry, and psychology right is a prerequisite to human augmentation and will become more important in the future. Human augmentation is not just tomorrow's business. There are short-term and long-term opportunities that require engagement today. The following matrix illustrates the technical maturity and magnitude of policy considerations of human augmentation technologies. It shows that there are technologies that could be integrated today with manageable policy considerations. The most transformative technologies, for example, genetics and brain interfaces, currently sit at a low level of technological maturity, but we must be prepared for this to change quickly. Bioinformatics and collection and analytics, encompassing sensors, artificial intelligence-enabled processing, are particularly important enablers for other human augmentation technologies and warrant focused research and development attention. Feasibility assessment. What page are we on? Page 13, of course. We cannot wait for the ethics of human augmentation to be decided for us. We must be part of the conversation now. The ethical implications are significant but not insurmountable. Early and regular engagement will be essential to remain at the forefront of this field of human augmentation. Ethical perspectives on human augmentation will change, and this could happen quickly. There may be a moral obligation to augment people, particularly in cases where it promotes well-being or protects us from novel threats. It could be argued that treatments involving novel vaccination processes and gene and cell therapies are examples of human augmentation already in the pipeline. The future of human augmentation should not, however, be decided by ethicists or public opinion. Although both will be important voices, rather governments will need to develop a clear policy position that maximizes the use of human augmentation in support of prosperity, safety, and security. And I'm not even going to read the end of that sentence because it's so fake. Because, if you start at the top, the need to use human augmentation may ultimately be dictated by national interest. Yeah, well, I would call injecting people with metamaterials nationwide and then load balancing body area networks for 5 years. And now, after 5 years of doing exactly what y'all said you was gonna do at nano.gov, all the different things with the IEEE, all the different things in cybersecurity, all the different things that we've had to sit through and watch you do while you kept saying, oh, no, there's no such thing as transhumanism. I don't know what you're talking about. No, we don't. We need a chip in your head. No, we totally have to do the bullshit Neuralink thing. Yeah, Elon's going to save us. Trump is going to save us. Somebody's going to save us because we sure as hell can't save ourselves because they're a breakaway civilization. Meanwhile, those of us that are doing the research on the ground, and we're looking at all around at everything all at once, and some people know more than others about contingencies and plans that were created around the sentient world simulation, the Majestic 12, and all that. And it just seems to us that it's the end of humanity. Because you poisoned the food, the water, the air, the soil with all these sensors, tons of nanomaterials, cesium-137, any which way that you can get in and radiate us from the inside out and the outside in. And my confusion, transhumanists, is that somewhere here is my quote about how biology made us predictable and technology made us controllable. It's somewhere down here. And then there's not just artificial intelligence, but alternative intelligence. You know, and man plus animal, chimeric intelligence with cellular circuits that you implement by taking two genes that are from different species and putting them together. Oh, but you would never. I know, right? Synthetic biology, you would never. Really? People with the six-legged mouse who just came out with your morphogenesis from cracking the bioelectric code? Don't all of you as biologists know that the genitals should be under a protective casing of skin? What biologist doesn't know that your genitals, given how sensitive of organs they all are, male or female, should be under the skin? No, let's put them outside the skin where they can be easily cleaved. You definitely aren't going to be doing easy procreation, and give you another set of feet instead. Six-legged animal isn't an insect, it's a mouse with 2 extra limbs where its genitals should be. And you're just so happy with yourselves. Okay? So governments decided they're augmenting humans. United States Air Force Research Laboratory, real super soldiers, real equipment, real Battelle Biolabs, real human augmentation. And I'm a real non-invasive N2 test subject survivor. So I'm watching all this going, oh my goodness. I don't think anybody has any idea what they're in for. It'll be kind of like that when you're around people that suddenly shapeshift and do things that leaves your whole body freaked out. And this is all coming from the excitation with light. How are you supposed to dodge your own light bulbs? How are you supposed to drive off the road suddenly on the interstate and get out from under the UV light with visible light communication? In telecommunications, your VLC is your ad hoc networks and everything else too. That was really bizarre. It must be my Brave setting too. So in telecommunications, visible light communication is the use of visible light with a frequency of 400 to 800 terahertz. And then your 780 to 375 nanometers as a transmission medium. So while people were talking about the light poles that are on the street, they're talking about the cybersecurity on the inside in relation to watching you walk around in your house, but also having private network communications, see the dots here, and then that should be a different set and different types of networks that can be beamed down and separated within the light itself. This is your fiber optics. It's been around for a long time, or just optics. Light is faster than your radio frequency and such anyways. However, they have modulation, so they get to flip back and forth of whatever is easier for them to do their beam steering. They have different types of actual frequency available to them with the sine wave, their cosine, any type of actual MAC-ID bioelectromagnetic change that they want to make to your body area network. And that includes your CRISPR and your optogenetics and genomics and all that too. So like I said, you're driving down the interstate. A lot of the interstates have been modified for the electrical vehicles. What are you going to do? Drive off the road? There's nowhere to go. So in the same way, if you're working in an office, an industry, if you're in the hospital, if you're in one of these smart buildings, the mall, could be anything. Now you're underneath a light post that can log into your biosensors. That's really where the issue continues to be. You have no way to stop the drone. You have no way to access your own W-band data. And it's all wrapped up with Department of Defense databases and these other biomedical engineers and invisible people. Meanwhile, when we all turn around and go, what are you doing? Now we all need an AI assistant. This is for your digital twin. And nobody's slowing down or asking, what are you doing with synthetic biology? Some really disgusting, horrible things the entire time. Oh, why are you doing that? Why are you still doing it this way 30 years in, but you're not telling anybody the truth of how you're doing what you're doing under their skin? So we're already playing with brain-computer interface openly here in the United States. You can go on the YouTube for 7+ years of people putting on a brain-computer interface to modify their sleep, their mood, their brain waves. We're watching those brain waves with that Fourier transform. We're watching everything that they're thinking, doing anyways, and people are used to these different devices for altering that brainwave state. But we don't need you to put a headset on your head. We have that power just with these mesh networks. So now throw in that our youth being used to putting on the headset, and now as you mentioned, if they want a job, they have to be augmented, or they are not going to be as smart as the human over there who adheres with hydrogel, the artificial intelligence, to his spinal column. That's an example of an augmented human. That's synthetic biology. and synthetic biology came around in 2008. We're a bit behind the
Well,
curve.
actually, I would say
So, when we talk about the biodigital convergence, before I get to Karen Kingston talking about the DARPA, and before I get to I actually like these people. I don't know if anybody knows the Restricted Republic team, but I think it's a husband and a wife. But I every time I see this lady here, and I don't know much about her, but her presentation is beautiful, and she has the best outfits. Like, look at that jacket. Sorry, but I have my moments of just being a normal woman, thanks. And I'm looking at it going, wow, lady. And she's like that. She's so crisp every time. But anyways, so I think her name is Lisa. But she also, when it comes to delivering difficult information, I feel like she's very compassionate. She does a good job. And this is what we're going to be watching from the lady who left the link over here on this video, because this is where they're talking about things with Mr. Tom Lenz. But before I go there, I am going to close up the live and restart it. Apologies for blasting your ears out briefly. I will literally be right back, because these two lives go together. I wanted to get through enough of those two comments from me with juxtaposition and make sure that all these links that you see here, I'm going to post them right away, so that those of you who do understand this will have this as, things to work from as far as direct. It's transhumanism. It is body area network since 1995. Here's the sensate. Tell me how these things are connecting your body, the sensate device, and the app on your phone. Well, I don't know. The industrial Internet of Medical Things. Yeah, but that wouldn't include my device. That includes all devices of all kinds. Cybersecurity. Because it has to. Cybersecurity. All body area networks are watched so that people can't hack into your bloodstream. Duh. It's been around for 30 years. If it was so easy to get into, don't you think we'd have seen a lot more by now? Yeah. Okay. And then you don't have to go that deep in the technical or anything. It's just there if you want to, all right? So then we have International Journal of Wireless Information Networks again. That goes with our Wiley article. Let me pull that up because I talked about it, but I didn't show it. And I'll put this one in here too. See, this is why I've been using the same articles that are heavily cited. They're vetted. They're there. They don't go anywhere. They're not coming from rando places where it can be an opinion of somebody's blog. No. And I try to stick with the censor journals and MDPI as well. And y'all are familiar with this paper because this is your hybrid wireless body area network. Hybrid Security Protocol in Computer Network Security and Digital Forensics from 2011. And it's just an easy way for you to just boom, boom, boom. This is what I am trying to communicate to you, whoever you are. I know you think ChatGPT 4.5 whatever is wonderful, but this plan that they've had all this time is for wireless tissue engineering. That means that in the same way, right now, we're all sitting here going, well, I don't want somebody to just log into my body, my digi-twin, and even if I did, I want control over that. Like I could say to my flying body area networks, utilizing unmanned aerial vehicles for data transmission and are recommended to promote rapid and secure communication. Whoa! Like I said, drones with your health data. If you were able to say, hey, I want to call my doctor and get a hold of them, that would be one thing. We don't have that. We have a bunch of random strangers logging in and out of our skin and selling access to our body to somebody else. And we don't even know what's going on. And when we try to talk about it, I mean, this is Science Direct. Oh, no. Anyways, here we are in computers and security. Again, who's looking for the human body in computers and security? This is what I mean. Every single time they used your aura to hook you to the cloud. Get out of here. Okay. So let me see if it gives me my pretty picture. Nope, dang it. That's why I need an actual. Anyways, so you see the intra W-band tier 1, inter W-band tier 2, and beyond W-band tier 3 in cybersecurity. And you have to then realize that until we can get people to admit 30 years of doing this, we're in serious trouble. Because if you're the same people, and they are, with the same equipment, the same logins, the same libraries that they've had since the 1950s and 60s, like if this was always the big, we're going to save everyone, then why won't you talk about it for what it is? It's a cyber interface to get more easily into human bodies to make changes to their molecules. Not even their body itself or just the nervous system, but like putting bacteria inside of people that you can remotely log into and grow it into a disease. Or not. Or you can just electrocute people subtly and electrically torture them until they're dead. I mean, we have not seen the good side of any of this as long as I've been alive. And anytime anybody got through Congress anywhere near getting this out in the open, they die. Or they arkancide, like some random suicide no one can explain. And then, of course, there's every single person that I've seen online try to talk about this stuff. They don't last very long, or if they do, you have them relegated, isolated to a corner somewhere, dirt poor, living out of their car. Everyone tells them they're nuts and avoids them like the plague. And then you find out they're a veteran or a former drone operator. Like, there has to be a reason here, folks. If you won't talk about this for the biocyber interface that it is, then you're saying we should biodigitally converge? You've been doing this to us for 30 years. You still won't tell us. And now you want us to just say, oh, yeah, fill me full of graphene, please, so you can log into me easier than you have in the last 30 years. Yeah, I don't need to know. I'm just going to stick out my arm. and I'm just going to stick out my arm and do what I'm told. Hello? Okay, so that way, for those of you that may or may not have these articles in one place, you will. Excuse me. And an infographic for brain-computer interfaces. That's the link for this thing here that has all the different types of names and central nervous system to brain-computer interface. And you can have a good time Googling away or whatever you use for a search engine. And neuron devices, emerging prospects, and neural interfaces and recognition. That's this one, talking about intracellular recording, extracellular recording, and optical imaging. And then also opening your ion channels and such. And then your artificial intelligence recognition with your ANNs and whatnot. There's a bunch of it listed in this article. And that'll do for right now. So I'll see y'all in just a little bit. Yeah, juxtaposition is part of that because he said the same thing. People seriously do not understand when you say biodigital convergence. They sincerely don't understand. They don't. They think they're going to be given a choice. That's why, for those of you that do try to talk about this, please talk about it from your own level of genius, because you have it. I guarantee you do. I'm sure you can come up with a better example than me. But this is the example I'm going to tighten up on, because I do not appreciate that so many people that are using the terahertz, it's quantum healing stuff, plus the Fitbits and all that. I mean, they're worried about a bioweapon they have no control over, they don't understand, they can't explain quantum dot. They're attaching that stuff to their hand. They're logging into it regularly for their fitness. They're harvesting or mining crypto out of their own heartbeat, and yet they're worried about a bioweapon from China. They're doing the work for these people. And this is the cog war from NATO that everyone is, well, at least I would hope by now, people are trying to get people to talk about. Where did you go? I have that NATO document to get to as well. Biocognitive. When I come back, I'll open it up for y'all. But on the channel, just so you know, I did change it. No, not pervasive computing. I changed things with a NATO symbol. So those of you that are looking for that cognitive document, and I'll grab that right now and put it up there too. That way it's all in one place. I changed it to the NATO symbol so you could find it easier. Ta-da! Mitigating and responding to cognitive warfare, because these brain-computer interfaces in the body area network entry for your biomedical telemetry. That's going to be included inside of a lot of the way that the global information grid reviews and views your environment like this. And now imagine inside of your cognitive warfare, see it's a square that's gridded off. That of course matches the documentation they have on the DTIC side for the different ways that they're watching your global information grid through your feature values of your EEG and what you're going to do or not do. That's how they watch you 6 days in advance of whatever you do. Bioinformatics. As related to genetics and genomics is the subdiscipline that involves using computer technology to collect, store, analyze, and disseminate biological data and information. And that's your gene sequencing. And again, your toroidal fields and everything like your blood and tissue is always in motion, okay? So that's why they're watching the biology, your electrochemistry, your biochemistry, the pressure around you, and then, of course, your EEG with the back and forth of your Fourier and your biomedical engineers, and they have all of that data available to them in things like the following: SQL Hive. I'm thinking of things, folks, to make sure inside the links for all this. SQL Hive, Apache Hive, and Spark. Apache and SQL, I mean, we're talking about some of the oldest software databases and looking glass accessible crap that they've had the entire time. All they did was roll it over now into Kubernetes and all the ways that they're handling their newest database, moving it around. And that makes sense because it needs to be cyber secure. So you have the Metastore here, but with Hadoop Loop and Amazon, again, Kafka, Kubernetes, and then out to your Edgeflare fog and keeping it separate from the internal secure architecture so that, excuse me, not just anybody can rewrite routing protocols, different types of code, whatever else. And then when they handle their spell books back and forth with basic stuff like just checking out what you're doing in your house on a drone or whatever, those are routed down different protocols and networks so that they don't get anywhere near the internal security that they use with themselves to log in and out of the core of all these systems. No different than regular network security that you would have on a business that you owned inside your own building and maybe a tertiary building or two, or your employees remoting in and out of your business.